All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? This is Minister Perkins, host of the Underground Church podcast, and I'm coming back with you with a familiar guest. If you've been following the show, you're gonna go to the backlogs, go back a few episodes. I had this brother on before, so I'm bringing him back just to talk and to chat and to catch up with this brother. So we have minister, pastor, pastor. Is it Pastor Mart or
Yeah, it's fine. Pastor Mart is fine.
okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
All right, so I'm Pastor Martavis Williams. My wife and I, we pastor Destiny Church Brownsville. I am 34 years old. I am an author. I am a husband, godfather, uncle, friend, brother, all of that. I love to bake. Um, I currently work with Tennessee Voices as a community engagement specialist for System of Care across Tennessee. So I kind of do a lot.
Right. Okay. And like I said, man, if anybody has been keeping up with the podcast, they can go back and see that I had interviewed you a while back, and I know we talked about your book, and you just said you're an author. You do a lot of things. You're an uncle. You're a brother. I think we might be cousins or something. I don't know,
All
man.
right.
You got that? Yeah, you a little bit of everything. But one thing I did want to touch on is that a lot has transpired, from the last time we talked, and now you are a pastor, which you briefly mentioned. You are a pastor now. Before you were just an associate minister,
Right.
associate minister, and now you're leveled up, man. And now you've been promoted, you've been blessed. So to now you come from what church? What's your home church where you were serving?
So I will before I came in this position, we were at Destiny Church Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now where are you located now?
So now we're Destiny Church Brownsville. So we're in
Okay.
Brownsville, Tennessee.
Okay. So it's an expansion.
It's an
Okay.
expansion. Yeah. So
expansion
yeah.
of the expansion of the ministry. Okay. And they put you over in the Brownsville area. So are you currently did you have to move or relocate, or are you still here in Jackson?
I am currently still in Jackson. We didn't see the need to relocate because we're so close. I actually grew up in Brownsville, which is the crazy part. I stayed until I was about 13. I actually lived there until I was about 13. I still have family, tons of family, tons of friends that live in Brownsville. But myself am from Brownsville originally.
Okay. Well, that's just, that's home, familiar
Oh
territory.
yes.
So how long you been in this new position?
So I've been in this new position a little over a year and a few months. We started June 2021. So the first Thursday in June last year, we launched our first midweek empowerment service there in Brownsville.
Okay. And uh I want to get this out the way. Go ahead and tell us. You say you were in Brownsville for any of my listeners. You in Brownsville. What's that address, the location?
All right, so we don't. It's funny because the building we're utilizing right now does not have an exact address. It is the WOW building. Some people who aren't familiar with Brownsville will call it the WOW building, but it is the WOW building for the people who grew up who live there. We know it as the WOW building. It's on the corner of Main and Boyd. It's right across from the actual parking wrecks, we call the old National Guard Armory. So it's right on the corner. We have so it's right there. We have our services on Thursdays at 7 p.m. currently, until we get ready to go to Sundays.
Okay, you said it's on Thursdays. Okay,
Thursdays at 7 p.m.
okay. All right, man. So yeah, that's you say how long? A year?
Yeah, just a
A
year,
year?
a year, like two, almost 3 months.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, quite a bit. That's quite a bit of time. I didn't really realize it was that long, man. And I've been, of course, I follow you on social media. And you putting out good content. You know, you also presenting a good message and a good word. In the church on in your messages and stuff. And what matter of fact, this stuff is just coming to me.
Okay, that's good,
I
bud.
just it's a guy. It's one of my coworkers. Um, he's a musician. He plays the guitar, the bass.
Mm-hmm.
This is Darren.
Darren, yeah, Darren.
Darren,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I really don't see him that much because they changed our hours, they changed our shifts and things like this. So I don't really get the chance to see him that much. But yeah, he spoke highly of you, man. He
Oh man.
spoke, yeah, yeah, he spoke very highly of you. And yeah, I think I had seen where either you had posted or he had posted something, and you were in the picture. So I put two and two together, and because I heard he was a musician at the church. I'm like, okay, I see he's with them. He's with Matt. I mean with Mart. Mart. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was calling you Matt. Mart. But yeah, man, there was a he spoke very, very highly of you, man. He said that, man, the services, the message, he's like, hey, he said, hey, your boy, he said, he coming with it. He coming with it.
I
He,
appreciate
he
that.
said, man, he said, you done grew, you've been growing. So yeah, man. So how did the decision come about, you know, for you taking on this new role in ministry and heading up the expansion part of the church expansion.
All right, so first of all, of course, major shout out to my pastors, to my apostles Dan and Runner Peter Grew. My wife, I met them almost, I think this year will be 10 years ago. I was a
Mhm.
member of Destiny on my own before I got married, before I left and came back. And my wife and I, we started serving with them under them in 2015 as the youth pastors, and we were youth pastors for almost 5 years, somewhere like 4 or 5 years. And then we transitioned to the e-pastors during the pandemic. We kind of took over and kind of took care of people that were watching online, kind of helped start some stuff as we were at home and kind of keeping people engaged. And then so going back going back to 2015 when we went into the youth pastor role, one thing one thing that they talked to us about was the fact that they wouldn't hold us past our time because they knew we had a calling to be senior leaders. So they're like, we're gonna put you in this position now, but we're not gonna restrict you or keep you here. And when it's your time, we will release you however that looks. So a lot of people don't know that the actual name of the church is Destiny Church International. But it was strategic in the way that we planned it, that we call it Destiny Church of Jackson, because we knew that at some point there would be multiple campuses.
Mhm.
And so we were the first of many. There are now three locations, but we were the second one. And so there was a lot of praying going on. I kind of felt this tugging, like you said, of home, of my hometown. I kind of felt this tugging. I kind of felt this leading of a place. And me and my pastors were having a conversation one day, and they had a conversation with their leader. So they were talking to their bishop,
Okay.
and they were kind of getting some insight. And I was kind of at home with myself, kind of feeling this thing. And she called me and was kind of just chit chatting about some possible playing going on. I kind of knew I'll always be one of the people that were playing. My wife and I'll be one of the people that playing it. But I just kind of struggle sometimes with where. And she was having a conversation. She said, Bishop is saying that he's not familiar with the area, but he really feels led to go that we should be going toward Memphis, but not Memphis, but toward Memphis. And she's like, I know that it's Brownsville. I got quiet. I kind of paused. I was like, oh, no, okay. And so I said, yeah, I've been kind of feeling this tugging and leading. And she's like, why you ain't say nothing? I was like, who wants to admit that they've been called to be like anybody who know about callings? We know the people who've been called. We know that we don't like into them. We know that it comes with a lot of, you know what I'm saying. So you know, like you're a preacher, so
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
the higher you go, the more it's going to require of you as a person, but also the more attacks that come with this.
yeah.
I was kind of like, and I'm not trying, nobody's trying to just jump out there. I was like,
Right. You
but
understand that, yeah, you understand, you counting the cost, they understand
yeah,
it's major,
yeah,
major
and yeah,
responsibility.
and just understanding timing, and some they said was, we'll let y'all tell us when, but we're not gonna let y'all sit on it too long. So you tell us when you think you're ready, when you're comfortable. But if we feel like y'all are dragging your feet, then we're gonna come tap you and say, I think it's time to come on. You know, it's time to move on. And so we're
Yeah,
not being kicked out the nest, but like when it's your time to fly, it's your time to fly. And I think maybe not so late, not probably a month later, my wife and I talked about it, we prayed about it, and I went to them and said, we're ready. And so that's how we did it. And I think maybe a month two later we were launching our first service, and here we are a year and a few months later, and we're still going strong.
right. That's great. Uh, so what are the differences um in this position and in the previous position that you held?
Oh man. What are the differences? So one thing I'm grateful for is the fact that our pastors allowed us to serve in the associate pastor role for a great length of time. And one thing they did not do was they did not hide anything from us. They allowed us to walk with them. They allowed us to have conversations. They allowed us to see what it looked like to
Mhm.
be a senior leader. So we were very equipped, and of course, we can always still call and count on them. Some of the biggest differences are just though is like it's just the fact that like you're in charge now, like you have to, you know, it's for me, it's been a difference of casting a vision for ministry. Let's obviously like youth ministry and then follow within the house, but now you're having to cast a vision for an entire church. Um, and
Oh,
and and you know, and also in that, one thing that has been the one of the things that's different is that we're actually planting from the ground up. So it wasn't like we inherited a church, it was we're going to start a church. And that can look very different from when you're used to going and there are already people committed to something versus you having to go and get people to commit or people are starting to commit. And so
okay.
for everybody, so you know, for everybody, so of course we have the good thing about us though, we're closer to Jackson. So our Jackson people, our team destiny is strong. So we have a lot of help from Jackson, and people felt committed to, you know, come from Jackson. They were allowed to commit, they were allowed to help if they wanted to help. There was no restrictions on that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's still again for us being in charge and being the ones to tell people, okay, we need you, or we need you to do this, we need you to do that, making sure the building is taken care of, making sure that we've got everything planned and scheduled out. It's just I mean it's the same in itself, but like I said again, it's just you sometimes it's still like we're the ones in charge, like we're really the ones
Okay. Okay.
in charge. So if there's a problem, we got to figure out how to deal with it. You know, of course, like so we have that guidance, but it's pretty much in our hands. So it's like just realizing that like we're actually in charge and that this is something that God has actually called us to do. He called us to we have to seek him for what he's having us to do for that area and for this time, because it's very strategic. Is that we're in a because even though we're just 30 minutes away, it's still a different city, it's still a different
Yeah.
group of people. And like I said, for this time, because really we're in a place to where I mean we've been in this place for a long time, but even more apparently that church as usual, church as it used to be, it's not going to be what draws people to God or to the church in this day. So just being strategic and being able and being led by the Spirit on what to do for us and for how we want to grow and do things with what we're doing and being called to do.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I already, had an idea that, yeah, it is a lot. It's more responsibility.
Right.
And I like what you said, like, but you really got a good foundation as far as you being a youth minister, youth pastor for a number of years, and your leaders, they didn't hold back. They let you in on, on leadership and what it looks like, and what a person goes through. And I know from experience, as far as with preaching and having an opportunity, that helps out a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to, you presenting the message, and you being before the people, and you understand that, because I mean, you don't had your practice,
Right.
you don't been you don't and you've been on a good leadership where, they can help you along the way, and things like that, with your delivery and your presentation. So yeah, good teaching and good leadership is always needed, and so with your approach. Oh, and another thing, so you get a lot more phone calls now.
Yeah.
I, I thought you was gonna say that, like, man, my phone is ringing off the hook, like.
We're not there just yet, but we talk about that a lot. But so we're not getting as many, but the phone has picked up.
Okay,
The phone
okay,
calls are
and
picking
you know
up.
what, and I think that's good too. To help kind of preserve.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think, some pastors, man, they take on a church, and they going into something that's alrealready existing, and they might not have the support, um, like you have, because you said
Right.
the Destiny's team is strong. So, um, you got the support from the home team, you know, and you have people that's, helping you along the way. You don't have the whole weight on you. That's the
Yeah.
best way I can explain it. You got as much as you need right now. That's the vibe I'm getting. You got about as much as you need right now.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. But you said something I kind of wanted you to elaborate on, before I move into the next part of the discussion, where you said that church, you're gonna have to come with a new approach, or um what's being presented, is really not working in this day and age. Could you elaborate on it a little bit, and kind of?
Okay, yeah. So and just in reference the fact that a lot of us, if we admit, a lot of us have been in church a long, long time, and
Mhm.
we've seen a lot of different things. And I know that, and I think the thing we use to justify why we stay in certain ways or traditions is that God never changes. And while his ways or his character never changes, his methods did. And
Yeah.
when we even look at the Bible at Jesus, he didn't heal the same way every time. He was strategic about when he went into certain areas. He was intentional about having certain conversations with certain people because he knew what their law and what their cultures were. And in order
Mhm.
to get them to a place of a relationship, he did things intentionally to strike up conversations with people who people deemed to be less than or that he should have no contact with. And so we as the church have to be for remember that we can be solid in what we
Mhm.
teach and what we know to be truth, but also remember that in how we deliver that and how we operate does not have to be the same because like I said, God doesn't change, but his methods do.
Methods.
And so we just have to get to a place where we're okay with church won't always look the same. I mean, we offer most weeks if we're in person, we offer in person and a virtual, and we get
Okay.
sometimes we have a greater audience virtually because I have family members who are committing to the church who haven't stepped a foot into church yet, who might not step a foot into our church, but they watch. They're on prayer at 6 a.m. They're on at 7 p.m. and they're watching because they're not very familiar with church, they're not familiar with the area, and they're trying, or they have kids and they don't want to have to pack the kids up and come. It's just a lot of different reasons. But if I'm just stuck into the way things used to look, I would miss an opportunity to minister to people who really don't know Jesus in the aspect like I do, because I'm stuck to how it should look. I'm stuck to everybody coming to the building. I'm stuck to everybody being in one place. And I have to understand that our reach is far beyond just the four walls, literally, and be able to go out and get people however they want to come.
Okay. So so you said the online, that's a method that you incorporate. Um you have some other things in mind. Now I don't want you to spill the beans on on anything that you're trying to keep tight to the chest and be like,
Right.
I got this, I can't speak on it. But you currently, do you have any, you developing any
Yeah.
other methods and
So I'll give you some things that we've actually done already, that's been beneficial to us and the community as well. Is we go out and we get into the community. I mean, we're out. It's what Destiny Church Jackson called a love parade, and we kind of implemented that. And they started the love parade in the pandemic, like during the pandemic when it was the numbers were really high and people couldn't
yeah,
really do a
yeah.
lot of contact. So we would just decorate our cars and drive through neighborhoods, honk the horns, let people know that Jesus loved them, and so does Destiny Church. Got a real great feedback, and so we was like, you know what, let's try this in Brownsville. But because the numbers were kind of going down, we decided, you know what, let's drive, but then let's park our cars and let's go talk to people. And so we get out, we have flyers, and we get out, we talk to people, we pray for people. I'm talking people, people smoking blunts. We like, hey, excuse us, women, to interrupt your
Yeah.
good time, but can we talk to you about Jesus? Let us know about.
Yeah.
Let's tell you. Allow us to tell you about this church that's coming. Get connected if you want to, if you can. And as you can see, we do not judge. We do not care about what you're doing. And believe it or not, God doesn't care. He wants you just the way you are. We believe that you can't clean a fish before you catch it. We know that. So we've got to
You
go.
can't clean a fish what
You
before you
can't clean before you catch it.
yeah, I like that. I like that, man.
You
I like
can't, and so we gotta go out and get them just how they are. Flopping or something. The fish and flopping and trying to get out and get
yeah.
back in the water. Someone gonna come flopping. Someone gonna come. They might come intoxicated. They might reek of a smell or whatever. But we want those people. We're like, we go out and we just and we have real conversation with people, because people have been hurt not the by the actual church who Jesus has called us to be, but by
Yeah.
some things that have happened in what we know is to be church.
Yeah.
Be with some bad experiences with pastors and different people, and so a lot of people are sitting out. And in the pandemic, just really pushed people. It gave people the excuse, because a lot of them didn't want to go or weren't going anyway. The pandemic just gave them an excuse not to go, and it gave some people the way out that they had been looking for anyway. So we're like,
Yeah.
hey, we know you
Yeah.
tried church before probably, but we want to give you something new, something fresh. We done a few Sunday night crusades where we just go in. We have a community praise team where it's not just Destiny Church. It's been other musicians from the community, other singers from the Brownsville and the Jackson area. I won't even want to say some Memphis people have come, and we
Okay.
just go in there and we just pray. We have a time of intercession. We pray for the people that's there. We pray for the community. We pray for the area. We just pray. We just pray that God's will be done in the service, and that praise team goes forth. And my apostle has preached. I preached, and we just minister to the people that's there. We believe that souls will be. I know that souls have been saved, that lives have been transformed from those crusades. Just let it remind that kind of that crusade is like the revival sense, like getting and that drawing and that urgency that Jesus is here, or that Jesus is here to save us and he's coming back. We got to remember that we need to be ready when he comes back. Just kind of putting that fire, and also letting people get a glimpse of what we will offer as a church on a through a worship service. So we have a great number of things. We did a fall festival last year. That we saw over 300 people came out. We had we had a petting zoo, we had free snow cones, we had free hot dogs, we had people, organizations in the community and businesses that came out and set up tables, passed out candy to the kids. We had Mickey and Minnie Mouse. We have game nights. We have game. We have Easter egg hunts. We have game nights. We feed the kids, or we feed the families, whoever comes out, and we just have a good time. We're not always about a church service. We're about fellowship.
But
We're
this
about
fellowship, yeah.
yes, we're
Yeah.
about eating, getting to know each other, getting to know the community, allowing the community to come out just to meet us, see who we are and what we're about and what we do, and just even some ideas that we have moving forward. So, and we got some other stuff planned, and they'll be seen as time goes along. But that's what we've kind of been doing.
Okay. All right. All right. For a couple of minutes, me something popped up on my screen.
Okay.
I want to man talk about you had posted this sermon. And man, you was just talking about that you still here. You know, the enemy has tried to attack you. And you just dealt with the fact of just you're here. And I want you just briefly to elaborate on it. Man, I seen the post on, I think it was on Instagram, and I said, that boy preaching. I said, that boy preaching. Well, you know, uh, just kind of, elaborate on that, man.
All right, and so here's the crazy part. At that point, I hadn't really even gotten, I hadn't even taken my text at that point. I actually got up there to preach, and I just got excited. I had a thought, like I said, that week as I was studying about, for that Sunday, and I just thought about the fact that I was thinking, I was realizing I was going to turn 34 this year. I'm graduating, and I
Yeah.
was just thinking for all these things that just been happening in my life, and I really thought about when I was in college and how I literally wanted to commit suicide, and there was no talking me down. Even when my friend attempted to talk me down, there were still days I still felt like I didn't deserve to be here, that I did not want to be here. And there were some days I could have cared less what happened to me. And I really thought about the fact that sometimes I know we have, mental health. I work in mental health, so I get those mental health issues. I get those mental health concerns, those mental health diagnoses, and people taking their medicine, which is a great thing. Going to see their therapists and counselors are great tools. But I thought about the fact that even with all of that, I still thank God that He allowed me to be here, and that every attack that had been sent from hell or that had been allowed on my life did not work. And I mentioned, I said the weapon may have formed, but it didn't prosper. So that
Yeah.
I didn't see some sad days. That it means that I went depressed. That it means I went and counted how many pills that I had in my, in my pill bottle that night. That didn't mean that I didn't try to drink it away. It didn't mean I didn't try to smoke it away. But even those things that I tried to do to take myself out, God didn't let it. He didn't allow it.
He didn't allow it, and he didn't let the weapon prosper.
He didn't let it prosper. It formed. A lot of times we think
If
that God
mm,
won't allow us to see it, but sometimes He will allow us to see it. So to remind us that even though you saw it, and even though it manifested in your life, it didn't have the power to take you out.
you know what? And a lot of times we get tripped up on that because it formed.
Because it formed.
We get stuck right there. Well, it
formed. Because it formed.
Because it took shape. It's doing something, but but it did not prosper. We got to remember it will not prosper. Wow. So you just had a moment before the sermon.
Before the sermon.
I was gonna ask you, like, man, what text did you come from? Hey, that was from your book of life. It was Mart, the book of Mart. chapter 19, chapter 22 years ago, whatever.
Right.
Wow.
I had a flashback. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were preaching. You were preaching, man. That moment right there, it resonated. It really resonated with me, man. Because the awesome thing is everybody has been there. Everybody has been there, and there was a real open and an honest moment, and that right there, you can praise, you can get a praise off of that anytime.
Yeah.
At any time, I'm still here.
Here.
You know, you ain't even gotta think of new stuff, what God is doing or what he's about to do, which is good. But you could just, man, like here, now, in the present, I'm thinking about these weapons that were formed, but they didn't prosper.
Right.
Man, I like that. I like that, man. That was that was a good message. And you know, that's when you think about something that's still remaining and still standing, that holds power, that's weight. You know, if you think about an object that can't be shaken, that can't be that can't be moved.
Right.
You know, and when you are sustained by God, you know. And like I said, we get caught up in the enemy and the attack that's about to be launched or the weapon that's formed. When Paul talks about the armor, he tells us to suit up in the armor that we may be able to stand. He didn't say so we can run on the battlefield. He said just you can stand against the wiles of the devil.
Yes.
And for most people, that's probably like, well, that's nothing. But just to be able to stand and to be solid.
Yes.
That's a powerful object.
It is.
You know, try to move a wall, try to move a boulder, try to move a car that's in this,
right.
It's a powerful object, But man, I thank you for coming through. You might have to, I don't know if you're gonna take that and craft it into a full sermon, but
I think I'm already over here looking. I think I'm gonna do something with that.
Okay. Yeah, if I end up preaching it and then putting it in the message, man, I gotta remember to give you credit.
Hey man, go you inspired this. You make this come all the way to life.
Hey, we might have to do a tag team, man. I do part one, I do part two.
Right, make it happen.
Oh man. But listen, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this interview, man. I appreciate you coming through. And we definitely hopefully we can collaborate again in the future. I guess some things that's up my sleeve that I'm praying about and I hope to come to pass, man. And yeah, I like you to be down with it, man. Once I get everything straightened out, man. But what can people find you at on social media before I close out?
They can find me at on Facebook is Martavis Williams, Martavis. I also have a Marseilles page on Facebook. Marseilles on Instagram _Mart Marseilles, I think on Twitter, and then I have a website, marseilles.com.
Okay. Well, man, thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Man, I'll be sure to keep in touch with you, man. I'm always gonna see what you're dropping, and you almost forgot. Do you still do like the motivational Mondays sometimes?
Sometimes I graduate in October, so when I graduate in October, I'm going to come back full force. I kind of my schedule's been crazy with church and work, so but coming November, I'll be fully back Monday with Monday Motivation.
Okay. Yeah, y'all check that out on Instagram. You have it on Instagram. It's just on Instagram and Facebook. Okay. Yeah, y'all be sure to check that out too. But man, thank you for coming through, man, and continue to do what you've been doing. I know, man, staying connected to the Lord. This right here, your new role, your new task, man, it's definitely keeping you, it's going to keep you near the cross and in prayer. But yeah, man, you just keep doing what you're doing, man, and catch you on the next time around, okay?
All right, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.